I think we need to clear things up right away, don't we? Wesley, was that your goal?
I think everyone tell me I touched the ball, so yeah. I don't know if I touched the ball, but it's me or Enzo. I'm happy because it was a good goal, it was important, and yeah, I'm happy.
We zoomed right in on the pictures, and it looks like you've got the faintest touch. Did you feel it?
To be honest, no. But everyone say they see the goal on the video and I touched the ball, so I touched the ball.
We saw you were pointing to Enzo after it. What were you saying to him?
Because it was a good shot. We worked on that during the week, and yeah, it was a good shot. And yeah, I'm happy for him.
Marc, was Enzo claiming that one in the dressing room, though? Did he think it was his goal?
Yeah, I think so. He won the goal, but no, I think the effort today was really good. I think probably it's not our best moments after the last performance at home, but today we show that if we play together, if we fight together, we have really good level. So hopefully we can win a bit of confidence after this game, because next week we have a massive game.
Yeah, was the most important thing for Chelsea today to respond after 6 games without a win, 6 defeats in a row in the Premier League? Was this a much better response?
Yeah, for sure. We are not happy because we won the 3 points, but at the end, today we show that if we won, if we put our effort, if we fight together, we are a really good team. So hopefully we can learn from this game and we can play good these last games.
And it's a point which gets you closer to potentially securing European football. Why is that so important for Chelsea next season?
Because Chelsea is a big club. We have a big player in the big club, so we need to fight for that. We need to go Europe. I don't know if it's Champions League or Europa League, but we need to give everything for the club, for the fans. And yeah, we try everything.
Marc, you mentioned next week at Wembley. It's massive. FA Cup final day against Manchester City. How motivated are you as a group to end this season with silverware?
Yeah, it's important for us. I think we have the chance to play a final. We have a chance to win a trophy. So hopefully we can prepare good the game. We can play at good level and try to win this trophy for us and for the fans. That today I think they are amazing.
Well, despite you getting the goal today, it's Marc who's the player of the match. Could you do the honours and hand him the trophy? Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, but Peter, they did have the best of it, Liverpool, in the second half. They hit the woodwork a couple of times and did have more chances.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think. Listen, I don't think it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I think they were kind of outmuscled at times. They huffed and puffed. As Szoboszlai, it always seems to be the main threat, running it from distance. I think Rio Nguemo, when he was on the field, it was always a danger. You need to get the ball out to him more. But I don't think they could handle Chelsea's kind of shape, really. Cucurella was so high, they found it consistently getting in down that kind of right-hand side. I felt a little bit sorry for Curtis Jones at times, kind of isolated out there. Chelsea are so fluid in their movement, it was hard to pick up the runners, and unfortunately Liverpool couldn't cope with it.
Did you really feel Chelsea deserved to take something away from here today?
Absolutely. I think a point was a good result. I thought, like Crouch said, Liverpool started well, and you really worried to Chelsea coming off the back of 6 defeats in the league. And they stuck in and they dug in. They showed a little bit of mettle coming to the game. And I thought Cucurella was finding his position. He was playing 10 yards further up the pitch. He's a fullback, but he times his runs beautifully. You know, one thing I would do from a coaching perspective, I'd get all of the wingers and watch him off the ball. You know, and their output would all look at his position here. He's Chelsea. He's alongside João Pedro. He's the furthest up in the pitch, and that's because of the timing of his runs. He's aggressive, and that can be taught. That's not some players have got he's obviously got a natural feel to it. But I think all of Chelsea's wingers can improve on that, especially in the current climate when they're your wing forwards now, right? That's why he's in all the time.
Was that something, do you think, that they'd really decided to come here and target Frimpong and focus on that left-hand side and Liverpool's right at the back?
Yeah, I mean, they've had a difficult time, haven't they, down that right-hand side. We've had midfielders kind of filling in there most of the season. For whatever reason, the fullbacks, I think, have struggled. And you had to play Frimpong higher up. And I think Cucurella is certainly an area of the pitch that Chelsea, with no doubt, have worked on. And they overloaded that area, and they consistently got in, and a lot of their chances came from down that side.
You said before the game that Liverpool needed to start well to really get the fans on side here, and they certainly did that, didn't they? And there was a lovely goal from Gravenberch, and it felt like it was all going their way from that point.
It was a really good start, and I think, they're getting the ball out to Rio Nguemo is such an exciting talent, but they don't want to dive in, they don't want to get close to him. That affords him the space to get the pass off. And this is what Gravenberch's so good at. Like his first touch away from defenders is so good, and he has it right away from him, and then he bends one. I would say into the top corner, but it was slightly more central, really, and I kind of thought the goalkeeper was at fault. But if you look from this angle here, 2 players in his line of vision, and he can't shuffle across and make the save, and it was a great strike as well.
No fault for the keeper there, Joe, at all?
No. I mean, listen, he will probably be self-critical and say maybe he was half a yard further to the right. He could have done, but it's coming through bodies, and that's why they say to you, hit the target, especially early on in the game when you're going through bodies, because you don't even have to catch it sometimes. You can take a deflection, it goes in.
Well, let's try and once and for all clear off this Enzo Fernandez free kick and whether Fofana got a touch, because I believe that Luke Klippler, working on our analysis today, has actually uncovered some more evidence for us today. So this is what we showed you at half-time, and we really felt at this point that Fofana got a little touch from this, and
first
it didn't
of all,
go straight in.
Well worked, Lindsay. They come across, Gusto comes out, Fofana comes into that role, and he puts it in that area. You know, and I think, look, this is the angle which looks like he may have touched it because the ball moved. But then you see on the next clip we're going to show you, it was a gust of wind. So listen, it just goes to show. Look at this daylight here.
From the ball he is.
Look.
He actually does not touch it there.
You know,
and that's pretty clear.
Which
That's
goes
the
to
conclusive evidence, I think.
Unfortunately, we were hoping to make Luke a celebrity. Unfortunately.
Well, we called him at Colombo at half-time, didn't we, for solving the mystery? But I think he's gone from Colombo to Dumbo. Look at this.
Look at it.
Because if you look at the shadow.
Yeah.
We're getting forensic about it
Do you know what
now.
it
You
this
can tell
does?
there's daylight in between there. So it has been given to Fernandez as well.
It's been given to Fernandez, and rightly so from what we can see. But it just shows you how difficult it is for VAR.
It's the 18th goal, Peter, that Liverpool have conceded from a set piece this season. Why did they not deal with it?
If you look at the start, I mean, I don't know if we can see it again there, but they're in a great line. You know, they, when you're in that line, you have to be strong, and you can't let people bully you. You can't let people push you. You can't get caught. And I believe it was Gakpo at the front there, and he just gets bullied there by Fofana, put out of position, and then it's a matter of time. There was 2 or 3 Chelsea players that could have got a touch there, and it happened that no one did, and it went in. But from a Liverpool perspective, it was a real poor goal to concede that.
It's been a massive weakness for them this season, hasn't it? The most that they've ever conceded from set pieces in a Premier League season, Joe.
Yeah, and when it's as clear as day as there's something that you need to work on. You know, and it's players like Gakpo, because obviously Konate, Van Dijk, you're 2 big lads that, you know, they're dominant, but there's only 2. So everyone else, if you have to do your job, like Gakpo in that situation, his job at the front of the line is, I have to first of all put myself in the right position where I deal with it, so not too deep, and the line was fine. But then he's only worried about someone coming to bump him from in front. But when Fofana's come from behind him, he's off. He's not got balance, but Fofana's knocked him a yard, and just that yard was enough for Enzo just to leave the ball in that position. It was well worked from Chelsea, but you have to have 11 men switched on from corners, no matter how small your job is, whether, you know, front post, back post, edge of the box. You have to do it. It's critical, and if you're not doing it, you end up on the wrong end of the set pieces table.
Well, and Calum, we really appreciate you coming out to talk to us. You've said before the game that recent performances have been nowhere near the standard, but what was your take on that performance today?
Yeah, I thought the Forest game wasn't the standard that we know this group are capable of. A few games before that as well. I thought we saw some bright signs at Wembley against Leeds, so it was really disappointing the following game that we didn't back that up and repeat that. But I thought you saw the best sides of this team today, so I'm really pleased with the performance.
Just want to ask you about Cucurella's position today. At times he was the highest forward. Must have been something you worked on and something you enjoyed today. He played really well.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of an injury crisis at the moment with Esteval, Ali Garnacho, Pedro Neto, Jesse Derry now, all carrying injuries. So we had to be a little bit creative. We know it's not Cucu's best position, but even from left back, he's very good in terms of making runs off the ball and in behind fullbacks. And I thought we did that really well today. So it's definitely something we were looking to exploit, and needs must at times.
Levi Colwill today, you must be buzzing to have him back. I thought he was brilliant for being out for a year and to come into a game like this up against the firepower that Liverpool got. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, I thought Levi was probably the best player on the pitch for me. He allows us to defend man for man on the last line, so we can be really aggressive. He can play. The left foot's a lovely balance in terms of when you're building up. I thought he did everything at a really high level today. And like you said, first game in nearly a year, like it just speaks about his character and who he is.
Yeah, we're going to throw it forward. Obviously, next week's like massive game for the club, massive game for you. When do you start thinking about Manchester City in the FA Cup final this week? Or was that 5 minutes ago when he was walking over it?
No, I think in this schedule and the level of opposition you're playing, you try and focus on the game in the moment, but you always need to have one eye on when we're prepping for Manchester City. We've got Spurs coming up really quickly, so you try and get ahead of things, but you also have to live in the moment and focus on the moment. So we wanted to give everything we could to this game, and we've done that now. So we'll have a day off tomorrow and start getting our head around how we're going to prepare for another top level opposition.
Like you said, you wanted to give everything for this game. How vital was it to get a bit of positivity, a bit of momentum heading into that and get that losing streak to an end?
Yeah, 100%. I felt like we could have won the game. That would have been even better. I feel like there were moments that didn't quite go our way that in my opinion, we deserved to win that game. That would have given us even more. But you're right. We've recovered a little bit from the Forest game. We've shown who we are as a group, who they are as people, and we need to build on that for Saturday, which will be another massive challenge.
There've been lots of questions about this group of players, especially recently, especially after the Forest game, about the fight, the desire. How have you found working with the group?
Yeah, I see them every day, so it's easier for me to say. It's not a cliche. I see them work every day. I see what they put in. I see the effort and commitment they put in, and it's just disappointing that it didn't come out in the game in every moment of the game against Forest. But you saw that today. That for me, we can't question that. We just need to do that on a more consistent basis.
How big an honour will it be for you next Saturday at Wembley, leading this team out?
Yeah, it's a really unique situation. It's not one that I expected to be in. There's been a lot of good work done before to get to this point, and I just have to support the club and support the players and the team in this moment. But the players have earned the right to be there, so it's more about them than me, I think, personally.
What do you think of the chances now after that point today against this Manchester City side?
It's going to be a tough game. They're a top side, but this team has shown that they can compete when they're at their best. They can compete with anyone across Europe. So if we get the best version of that, if we get the commitment, fight and spirit that we got today, we can beat anyone. But it's going to be a massive challenge. I've got a lot of respect for Manchester City and how they play and what they do. But we'll be up for that challenge.
Yeah, we'll let you go as well, Calum, because you've got to get back to London, start planning for that game. But we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Lovely. Nice to meet you.
Well done.
Thanks
a lot.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Calum McFarlane, what a day for him on Saturday. A huge honour to be leading the team out, Joe. Such an exciting day and a chance for them to after everything that's happened this season, to really end on a high.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? The FA Cup this year has thrown up so many things. We were the Macclesfield boys yesterday. He pulled off the biggest shock in FA Cup history. You know, it's supposed to be for the dreamers and you know, people like, and listen, Calum's obviously a very, very talented coach, you know, and he would have had designs of being walking the team out of the FA Cup final. Even him wouldn't have expected it to be now. But this is when it is, and this is what the FA Cup does. And you could write your name in history of Chelsea Football Club and in FA Cup final history. You know, that's beautiful. That's football, you know, and he's right about his group of players. Question marks were asked because of the performance last week. Question marks were answered. I think the word he used there, which I picked up on, was consistency, Crouchy. This club has been renowned for having consistency. Not always, you know, even our team wasn't always the most beautiful of flowing football teams, but we were consistent in certain values and certain things we did. And ultimately, if you do that, you end up winning trophies. You know, don't win all the time. Nobody does. But you have to be consistent. You have to, and he needs to get that into this group. But I just think it's a great story for him personally, walking a team out at the FA Cup final. And I can't think of anybody who's a neutral in football cannot be backing him and this Chelsea team.
It's such a tough situation that he walked into, isn't it? And taking over under those circumstances.
I think it depends the way you look at it, really. You know, it's also a great opportunity for him, and you know, puts him, you know, kind of forefront of people's minds. You know, they've had a difficult start because the team was very low in confidence. That today, I think, was much better, but something to build on. He's got the opportunity now to go into an FA Cup final. You know, and we've worked with coaches. You know him a lot more than me, Joe, but we've worked with coaches who do such great work behind the scenes, and you know, you want them to get an opportunity like this, and you know, for him to take on Guardiola, one of the best managers we've ever seen, you know, it's an amazing story, and it might not be finished.
He felt Chelsea could have gone on to win the game. Do you think, Joel, that they should have had a penalty. That there was that sort of tangle between Frimpong and João Pedro. How did you see it?
Here's my situation with that. When the referee, like, it looked like a tangle. My initial reaction was penalty, but we wasn't on a great angle. The referee was at a better angle, and he thought it was a coming together. So here, we're on the halfway line here. So we you know, it does fantastically well here. My first reaction was penalty. We both said it, and then, but then I think the referee's in a better position, and then you go to VAR and it's not conclusive. Like, they're both coming together. Is it Pedro going into him? So I'm happy with it. I'm not happy. I wish it was a penalty, but my professional opinion is the referee got it right, unfortunately, for Chelsea.
I think João Pedro as well does him a favour by getting back up and trying to carry on with the game. You know,
making a
I
deal
think
of
if he
it.
lies down and claims for a penalty, then I think then the referee's got a real decision to make. The fact that he sees the ball jump straight back up, that's what we want to see.
Yeah,
right?
that's what we want to see.
We don't want people diving, trying to win penalties, but I think if he'd have stayed down, he might have had a shout.
At the other end, though, Liverpool did want a penalty themselves as well. There was a bit of holding on Van Dijk from Caicedo. What did you think of that incident?
I just think corners have become ridiculous. It looks like it's WWE in there. It's like everyone seems to be fouling each other, wrestling. And I don't know if you give that one, then you're going to have to give another one. He has got his arm around his neck. And if you look at that in isolation, he has got his arm around his neck. But I think, Van Dijk is holding him as well. And there's other things going on in there. If you pinpoint, you could give 3 or 4 penalties in there. And unfortunately, that seems to be happening all the time now.
Yeah.
Does that make you two the bushwhackers?
What the hell I'd be.
What do we do about it, though, Joe? Darren was saying in commentary, this has to stop. They have to get together this summer and they have to do something about all the holding. It's happening at every corner.
I don't know why they can't do it. Like, they couldn't have done it 6-7 months ago. Like, it's like, oh, well, we have to wait and see how this goes. No, everyone in football's going, this is ridiculous. Crouch is right. It looks like the Royal Rumble in there every time there's a set piece. And players, by our nature, we will squeeze every bit of juice out of a rule. You lean into it. Well, how far can you go? How far you can go? And the referee's job is to police the game. There was one. Was it the Villa game where was it the headbutt last week? So like, it seems to me that in set pieces for a bot in the box, there's a new set of rules. Anything goes. Prison rules, as they say.
If you want to see anything goes, you can watch the UFC on TNT Sports from midnight to 8 as well. Get a bit more of that
or you
in.
can just watch set pieces.
We spoke about Chelsea having the opportunity to win this game. Calum McFarlane certainly felt it, but Liverpool had chances to win it too, Peter, in that second half. They hit the woodwork twice.
Yeah, they did. I think it was Szoboszlai, wasn't it? And they ran down with the header, but listen, I think Szoboszlai is always a threat from distance. This was the one, a great save actually, where he's flicked it in. He does so well, I think, the goalkeeper here, because he sees that late, similar to the one in the first half, and managed to get a hand across because we were right behind that, and he struck it so well.
Yeah, this is the one where he hits the post, Crouch, I think.
Yeah, lovely strike. It's so dangerous from here.
When I watch him strike a ball, and with that number 8 on, I think of Stevie G. I think that he's that clean of a striker. He rocketed it, and this is the one, I think, this is the closest out of the bunch. I think Van Dijk does so well there.
I think Ali said it in commentary, did he? I know he's under incredible pressure there, but I still think he could get that down,
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, I know he's fighting him, but...
Has he been the one Liverpool player, Szoboszlai, who's been at the level that's needed to be at for this club? Him and maybe Ekitike before he got injured as well. Is he the only one?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think, some of the levels, I think, of a lot of the players that were fantastic last year at times they've definitely dropped below, what they were last year. And that's, it's hard to put your finger on why. And I think, they have lost a lot of players, a lot of goals, some ability as well. Determination, whatever, and then when you get in that kind of rut, there's a little bit of a lack of confidence. You can tell the fans are a little bit edgy with maybe the style of football and the play, and things just creep in. And Ekitike is one of those. He feels like he's hit the ground running, and Szoboszlai for me has just gone to a new level.
Yeah, because at the moment, let's get some reaction from the Liverpool camp then, because Ryan Gravenberch is alongside Jules.
There were boos on the final whistle from the fans here at Anfield today, which shows how they felt about today's result. What's your view on their reaction?
To be honest, we need them behind us. I think what they do is, okay, we don't win, but I think we don't really deserve this, I think fans have to be behind us like 90 minutes because when I think it was second half, when they went behind us, we pressed them really, so we need it. So hopefully the next few games they won't do this anymore.
There are the boos on that full-time whistle there that Ryan Gravenberch was alluding to. He said they need the fans behind them. They don't deserve it. Joe, was it warranted today?
Listen, the relationship between the players and the fans of their club is always tempestuous. There's always it's emotional. You know, remember this. Although they won the league last year in fantastic fashion with a new manager, you always got the impression that Jurgen Klopp leaving, whoever was stepped into the shoes, it had to be perfect. And last year it was perfect. This year, they've changed a lot of players. It's dropped below perfect. And it's the first time in a long time I've felt restlessness in the crowd at Liverpool. And, you know, as a player, you feel like that sometimes. You just run your socks off against a decent Chelsea side. You've got a point. You could have gone either way. You could have won the game. And then you're getting booed off at home. And you're like, so then you're emotional, and then you say something, and then, like, I think the best bit of advice, the fans will stay with them. They're going to turn up here next week, and when they're ready and they see them fighting, they'll be with them. But it's very difficult to say, is it deserved or is it isn't? You know, it's just the standards of this club are so high.
Is it because the manager has lost the fans?
I think there's an element of that. I do think so. There is a bit of, slight unrest with the manager at the moment. Sometimes I think, because it was so good under Jurgen Klopp, that you got to park that. I think he's a one-off. I think the style of football was so exciting, so attacking. You know, it's very difficult to live up to that. And unfortunately, I think the style of play, maybe some of the recruitment, have they been up to the levels? Certainly not of previous seasons. No, and I think that's disappointing the fans. And I think the fans are very knowledgeable in this stadium, and I think they know that is this the direction that we want to go. And I think that's where, certainly in the summer, then certain conversations have to be had about, do we double down and we back Arne Slot, or is this the direction we want to go? And that's obviously the questions for upstairs.
Does he deserve the opportunity to turn it around, Joe, do you think?
He definitely deserves it, Linz. Like you said, Jurgen Klopp's shadow is in this club because he was loved by the fans. I don't think there's a better connection between a manager and fans in world football, and the players as well. It seemed like they loved him. And then you come, everything goes swimmingly. Slot, but he won the league last year, Slot. And that's got to count for something.
Here,
yeah. And I just think there's lots of circumstances that have happened around it. So he does deserve. But sometimes in football, you don't get what you deserve. And I think
Quite often.
Exactly, yeah. Well, you are a Newcastle fan, Lynn. So,
I know all about that.
Yeah. So, listen, I just think the thing that Xabi Alonso is available. I keep coming to that, and I think you look at the quality of the players that are here, the type of players that are here, the way that they play. The Liverpool board might think of moving. I don't think he deserves it personally, but it's a unique situation because Xabi was such a big player here, and he's been such an impressive young manager, and you might not get another chance to get him.
The Chelsea fans that we spoke to earlier, a lot of them seem to want Xabi Alonso as well.
Yeah, I mean, I played with Xabi. I think, an opportunity for him to come back here would be there. You have to get behind him, certainly till the end of the season. And then, things need to be assessed, but I think it does need looking at, and he's got to answer the questions of why it was kind of so poor. Then look at some of the recruitment, moving players out and moving players in, because unfortunately you look at the squad now, certainly with the players who are out at the moment, and they're falling below par. I think if we look at the Manchester United, the kind of front three and four there, and you matched it up with Liverpool's, it always felt, I thought they stayed in the game for a little bit. It always felt that they weren't going to get over the line in that one.
Let's have a little look then at what some of the Liverpool fans were saying on social media after this game. Adam said it was a pathetic performance. End of the season can't come soon enough. The whole team looks clueless out there. Tactics non-existent. James said, get Champions League secured and start making plans for a new management team. The quality and standard on the pitch is woeful, boring, lacklustre and unimaginative play all season. And Harris saying, boos as Rio is taken off. Boos at the full-time whistle. Slot needs a miracle. really strong stuff on those messages. You read them, and I know that's just a small sample, but obviously the boos in the ground at the end, it feels very difficult, Joe, to see him being able to win them back over. How does he do that?
That's some comments on social media. Listen, the boos here in the stadium is more. I'd be more concerned about that rather than what's being wrote on social media. And like I said, I think it's an emotional reaction. I think you need to really sit back and give it some thought. Actually, I think he deserves another year. I do. But Xabi Alonso in the wings, that's the only thing I'm thinking. Maybe they'll do that.
Well, we can hear from the man himself now after that 1-1 draw with Chelsea. You'd think they'd lost the way people are talking here. But let's hear from Arne now. He's with Jules.
Arne, the game was breathless at times. What did you make of your team's performance and the final result?
What does breathless means?
End to end, lots of chances, ebbed and flowed.
Yeah, what did I make of the game? I think we started off really well, scored a goal, got a big chance from a set piece where we were close to scoring the 2-0. Then in a quite a large phase of the game, we struggled to control their sixes, so they were constantly able to find them and then set up an attack. Unfortunately, like last week, we conceded a set piece, and that makes it really hard in a top game to win a game of football if you have a negative balance in set pieces, especially if you look at it. It was such a sloppy goal, or which word you want to use, but it wasn't a great cross and a header. It was just no one touched it and it went in the second post. Second half, apart from the third minute where they scored, which was fractionally offside, I saw a team that had a completely different intent and a completely different intensity in terms of pressing. We were a few times close, as so many times this season, hit the post, hit the bar, but not enough to win, and that's why it ended in 1-1.
Rio Ngamoa was really positive in the game, but then there were boos from some of the Anfield crowd when he came off. Why did you feel that was the right time to replace him?
I don't think it was some of them. I think there were a lot that didn't agree with that change, which I completely understand if you just look at how he played. But it does make sense if you know that 3 minutes before he goes to the ground, with having problems with his muscles. And then when I asked him, he said, no, not sure if I can continue. Yeah, and then the idea was maybe not to take him off, but when he gave the signal that he wasn't completely ready to continue, then it makes complete sense. But I knew this would have been the reaction because he's such a popular figure. He played a good 65, 70 minutes, 65, something like that. But yeah, it says it's so often in football, people don't know everything, and that's how it works. But it is what it is. I'm the manager, I need to make decisions, and sometimes people are happy with them, sometimes they don't, and today clearly they weren't. Maybe.
What about on the final whistle? Because that's when there seemed to be even more boos. What was your reaction to that?
No, that probably has to do with us not winning. So a draw. From the last 5 games, we won 3 last week, and today a draw. Yeah, that's not what we want. We want more. We want to win them all 5. But as I said, last week we had a negative balance in our set piece. Today again, conceding a set piece, and we were very, very close with Virgil to score one ourselves. So yeah, it completely makes sense that people are disappointed if we don't win, because that's what we want. We want to win, and it should be like this. If Liverpool doesn't win, no one can ever be happy with that.
Thank you very much, Arne. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Onslaught clearing that up about Rio Ngamoa being substituted. We were sitting really close to him, actually, and I did see him call over to Rio at one point to ask if he was okay and ask if he needed to change. So clearly, he felt it was the right thing to be cautious and take him off.
Yeah, we were right next to the bench, right, because privy to a lot of what was going on. And I said to Joe, this isn't going to go down well. But we were totally aware of the situation. Like he had spoke to him and said, I am struggling and you need to make the change. But I think the crowd love him here, and I think at that stage they would have been happier if Gakpo maybe had gone off. He'd have stayed on and Isak goes through the middle. I think that was clear. We mentioned it before it happened, and of course I don't think the fans knew the full story about he was carrying a bit of an injury. So it's a little bit frustrating one because they thought it was a purely tactical decision. But whatever happened, obviously Isak comes on, and I don't know whether he's completely fit or just doesn't feel like you know, he's not quite the same player that he's been at Newcastle. And
Like his confidence has gone.
I don't know if that is. It feels fitness oriented. I don't know if he's quite there fitness wise. I mean, obviously the fact that he even starts on the bench, he's a top quality player. You know, they've not got Mo in the team. They haven't got loads of goals. Ekitike's out. You know, if he was fit, you'd start him. For some reason, he just doesn't seem to have been able to keep himself kind of match fit this season.
They do, despite all the money spent last summer, need to rebuild and take stock this summer to be able to compete on all fronts, Joe. Where do they start with that? How big a task is it?
Well, first of all, I think you need to figure out what system you're going to play, you know, what the manager is. I feel it's set up the two up front with Ekitike and Isak next year. You know, and if you start it from a fresh start, I think then if you can get Isak up to speed, Ekitike has seen what he can do, and also he can sort of float out left, but he's been so good in that central position as well. Wirtz as well as a number 10, I think maybe you need to think about changing the personnel behind Wirtz to get the best out of him. You spent 100 million on him. I think he needs... I would look at someone like Elliot Anderson at this club, a physical midfielder, sort of in the Jordan Henderson
I think
mould.
the Manchester clubs will have something to say about that as well.
A lot of people will be looking at Elliot Anderson because he's such a fabulous player. But for this club and the way that they've played, it will plug a lot of gaps in midfield, which will allow Wirtz, in whatever system you play the front three, to do well.
So the crucial part for Liverpool in recent times, you think with Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson, they had those kind of dogs in midfield, and that was kind of the basis of their success. They were always solid. And then
Do they need a world-class holder then? Would that make the biggest difference?
Well, I think so, yeah. I think, you know, they've lost some serious ammunition, right back and left back as well. Creativity, Diaz, Nunes, Jota, there's a lot of goals come out of that. Salah leaving as well now. So, yeah, it's going to be a big summer.